As sanctions, at least in some cases, appear to be working, the war is still full on. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill focusing on cybersecurity today. They had hearings in the House and Senate amid Russian cyber threats. For that, we bring in CrowdStrike co-founder and former chief technology officer and now Silverado Policy Accelerator executive chair, Dmitri Alperovitch. Dmitri, there's so many pieces to this right now, but I don't know how we don't start with the atrocities that have now been revealed out of Bucha, which of course is just outside of Kiev, and renewed sanctions, but they're still killing people.
They are. And, you know, if you think Bucha is bad, all you have to do is just wait for the pictures to come out of Mariupol, that city that the Russians have been besieging now for several weeks. You have the Kadyrovs, Chechens, very, very brutal people. They don't pay attention to Geneva Conventions that are leading the assault in that city. We're going to see so many atrocities, I fear, coming out of that city over coming weeks. It's going to make Bucha look like plaything for the Russians. It's going to be horrible.
Well, that will only put and back Vladimir Putin into yet a tighter corner. And he continues to fight because that's what rats who are cornered continue to do. How do you think he will then step up? And of course, we're having these hearings about cybersecurity on Capitol Hill. Do we need to become a little more proactive versus defensive?
Absolutely. The time to do that, of course, was months ago because we do have a serious threat of cyber attacks. And the key question here is, what does President Putin do if and when he loses? He's already suffered a massive defeat, a humiliating defeat in the northeastern Ukraine, of course, near Kiev, Chernihiv, Sumy. Now he's got the battle for the Donbass where he's moving all of his forces into. But the Ukrainians have substantial forces there, up to 50,000, potentially even more, and more flowing in now that they don't have to defend Kiev. And if he loses that battle, he's got nothing to show for this operation except a devastated Russian economy. And that's when he becomes really dangerous. And cyber is, of course, one of the ways he can respond.
Well, an economy which is smaller than the state of Texas. It's unbelievable how small their economy is. I mean, yes, they have that weapon that they can use with their oil and natural gas, which appears to, at least for now, really kind of give him a buffer zone because the European Union will not wean itself off that. I mean, we can't begin to understand what's going on there. But Joint Chiefs Chairman General Mark Milley said he thinks the war in Ukraine will be measured in years. Do you agree with that?
I do. I don't think that there's likely to be a peace settlement that Zelensky and the Ukrainian people will accept. And I think we may end up in best case scenario, kind of a frozen conflict and expansion of what we had for the last 8 years since 2014, but on a much bigger scale. And that's not good news for Vladimir Putin because the economy will continue to suffer, the Russian economy, under the sanctions. And the sanctions will get worse. As we see more atrocities come out, you will have even the Europeans take action. I think the Europeans will cut off most of the oil supplies from Russia over the next few months. They can't cut off gas. They don't have enough replacements. But the oil, they can find additional supplies for. And I think they're going to move in that direction.
Many people so would have thought that Vladimir Putin would have launched a cyber attack somewhere in the United States, whether it was on the electrical grid, hospitals, banks, who knows what. However, the United Nations says that Article 5 can be triggered. This, of course, is an attack on one of us, is an attack on all of us, by a cybersecurity attack. That actually counts and holds equal weight to a military attack. Do you think that's why Putin has yet to use that bullet?
No, and certainly he has launched attacks against the West many times over. There was a new indictment from the Justice Department just last week talking about their attempts to hack refineries in the United States in 2018 with disruptive malware. They weren't successful in that particular case, but they certainly tried in the past. I don't think that NATO Article 5 alone is going to hold them back. What I think they're thinking right now in the Kremlin, I'm paying close attention to this, is they believe that the sanctions are not going to stay in place for many months. They think that Americans and Europeans are weak, that as soon as gas prices start going up, of course, they're already very high, but if they go up any further, that the Biden administration will be politically weakened and they will have to relent. I think they're miscalculating both the Europeans and the Americans on this, but that's what they believe. And I think that's one of the reasons they haven't yet retaliated, because they think that the sanctions will go away once the operation is completed.
Dmitri, what is the number one thing we should be doing on the cybersecurity front right now as a country?
Well, you should be paying attention to CISA, the Cybersecurity Information Security Agency that we have, that is running a campaign called Shields Up, reaching out to critical infrastructure in this country, financial sector, energy sector in particular. with recommendations, with information on what the Russians have done in the past, so that you can shore up your systems against those types of attacks.
Dmitri, always good to have your expertise. Thank you very much.
Thank you.